Hey everyone, and welcome to another Hungover Podcast. That's right, we're making it a habit again, even though I was late to the recording this morning because I struggle sometimes with reading text and understanding time differences. That's me, I'm Yvonne, the other host,
Julien, and we're going to be jumping right into the topic of the show because that's what we do now, but only through editing. We're going to be talking about self-driving cars, and are they the way of the future? Let's have the topic of the show.
Let's hop in our Waymos and just fucking figure it out from there, man.
This is Auto Cruising Podcast. Don't even look at the dashboard.
As smooth as butter, this ride.
Yvonne, self-driving cars are here, whether we like it or not. What say you, Yvonne? Are you going to get one? Or do you think...
Why would I need to get one? I think this is more like a bus.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk a little bit about self-driving cars as the technology is really significantly advanced in the past 2 to 3 years, I would say. So much so that they're actually on the road, and Elon Musk is making cars that have a self-driving feature in them. And I, for one, I know it's a really complicated and multifaceted topic to talk about, but I, for one, am going to come out and say it. I can't wait for self-driving cars to be all over the roads, and I'm really excited for them. I think it's when the technology is there, I think it's not going to be an intrusive thing. I think it can only make our lives really easier, much easier and safer and really exciting to, go on a road trip. You just lay down in your car or whatever and let the car take care of everything. So I am really excited for self-driving cars, but I know that there is a huge controversy over them. Specifically, the US is probing autopilot problems on 765,000 Tesla vehicles. So Tesla seems to be the first. I know it's a luxury car, but it seems to be under fire here, as they're really one of the first, if not the first, big car company that is really putting out any sort of self-driving, completely self-driving feature, right, in their cars. So clearly they're going to be the first ones under fire. Any sort of hiccup at all in their automation is going to be under fire and investigated to all hell. But rightfully so, I think. So, because there has to be some sort of regulation in place if we're going to actually implement any sort of self-driving technology. So, Yvonne, what say you? Where do you land on self-driving cars, and what do you want to talk about specifically with self-driving cars?
So let's start it off by saying, no matter how good of a driver you think you are, over the course of your lifetime, the best self-driving car is going to be better than your ability to drive.
Yeah.
In terms of maintaining safety. However, what I will say about this is, there are unknown or undervalued repercussions of switching the dynamic of who has more danger associated with them. So Malcolm Gladwell did an excellent podcast investigation on self-driving cars. He went to also ride on the Waymo, and then he focused on not the driving experience, but he focused on what would be the result if self-driving cars are the majority of or exclusive way of transporting.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea there is like if you talk to people who bike a lot, for instance, both of us have been on bikes and gotten absolutely hit by a car.
Right, yeah.
Now, some of that, in my case, there's, blame goes both ways. I don't know. I don't think it was the case in your case, but...
No, it's in New York City. There's no way. No way it was my fault.
But there's just like a lot of moments that will come into play that I think we are undervaluing because we're only focused on the car driving aspect of it, as opposed to pedestrians, for instance, will now be able to just do whatever they want, and self-driving cars will do everything that they can to not hit a pedestrian, meaning that you could cause a traffic jam by like doing the thing where you wait on the side of the road or in the middle of the road for the car to come by. So pedestrians are going to be the crazy new people as opposed to the cars.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? One of the huge pushes for the introduction of a completely self-automated road system is that there would be no traffic, and it totally makes sense that the reason why there is traffic is because of humans, right? There's either an accident on the road or someone swerved across a lane or something and slowed everyone down, and that compiles behind them like a mile down the road, right? So I totally see that the only reason a traffic jam would happen in the reality, like the future in which there's a completely self-automated road system, highway system, is that a human decided to take control of the car or wanted to change their route on their car, like just abruptly, and that would end up causing a roadblock or something like that, and slow down traffic. But ideally, like you were saying, going back to how no matter how good of a driver you think you are, the self-driving car is always going to be better. That's because they collectively, because it's one central AI that's just, or at least in the case of Waymo, which is a self-driving car company. I don't know if they're actually implementing their cars right now or if it's all in concept. I know they actually have a fleet of cars that have these ridiculous camera systems on them. They have like 300 cameras on each car, which is cool. I like it. But they collect data from each car, and so collectively this AI system that is updated in each car, it's the same system, has way more experience driving than you will ever be able to obtain just collectively, because they've sent these cars out on thousands of hours of driving courses and routes throughout the world, or wherever they operate. I think it's just in America right now. And so
I think it's in like New Mexico, isn't it?
I think it's it's in New Mexico or Arizona or somewhere around there.
Arizona, it's in Arizona.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so they have thousands of hours just collectively. So I when it was explained to me that way, I totally got on board with self-driving cars. There's no way that you'll ever be able to be a better driver than the self-driving car. And in fact, a lot of the cases in which self-driving cars have resulted in crashes are because of humans not doing something. Are because a human decided to take control of the car as opposed to just letting it do its thing. So, and I'm not saying, obviously the U.S. government has other opinions, and I'm sure they're rightfully so with the Tesla cases, but I'm saying specifically in Waymo, in all of their cases, They say they have billions of miles of simulation and millions of miles of public roads. They are saying that all the crashes that have resulted from their cars are because a human took over. So I am totally behind the idea of a totally self-automated highway, but I'm not entirely sure, as neither is the U.S. government, that the technology is there yet. It looks like because Tesla allows you to both drive your car and turn on the self-automated feature, and also not everyone on the highway has a self-driving car, that because we're in this intersectional time in which there's both human drivers and self-driving cars, that there will be more accidents related to these situations, especially if you think that your Tesla can just drive you wherever you want by itself, and you can just like fucking jack off in the car or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure someone said that.
Well, I remember the way back when the Veritasium video, where it was like you're not fully automated and you can go to work in the car. Everybody from Google almost immediately.
Yeah, exactly right.
It was like, okay, the car's driving itself.
Started sleeping in the car. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? I watched his video about Waymo, and it only takes about like 2 to 3 or 5 to 10 minutes before you just sort of surrender all control to the car. You're not like freaking out that the car's driving. Once it pulls like a merging onto the highway or something, you're like, all right, this thing knows what it's doing. And so you just sort of let it do its thing, and you sort of you forget that you're even in a car that's driving itself. So that's sort of how people operate when it comes to being in a self-driving car for the first time. I'm sure I would freak out too. It's kind of crazy that the steering wheel just turns by itself. I think that's gonna be like that's like a headless horseman or something, right? It looks really weird whenever I've seen footage of the steering wheel just turning itself, or rather, it's like the those pianos that can play themselves. Like it still has to push the key down in order to play it. It looks really weird.
It's like a little ghost playing the piano.
Yeah, right? It's super weird. Or there's like a ghost driving the car. It's funny that they still have these manual inputs that that actually control the car, as opposed to it being able to just turn the wheels itself, without turning the actual wheel. So I don't know. I just always find that funny visually. But Yvonne, it's what do you? I don't know. I haven't read too much about this U.S. investigation, U.S. government investigation of Tesla. But what do you think about Teslas and what's going on with Elon Musk right now? He's going to make a robot that's slower than the Boston Dynamics robots. That's what I said. Don't worry, you'll be able to outrun it. It's fine.
So, the add-on kit sold up for up to $10,000 of the self-driving is getting investigated too.
Okay.
So, I think the biggest issue is that the full self-driving aspect, I don't think is full self-driving, right?
On a Tesla.
On a Tesla, not
exactly.
yet.
Yeah, you're supposed to monitor the wheel.
Yeah. So there's different levels of engagement from these people that I think are going to guide like what the critics and the investigation is going to be focused on in terms of Tesla's claims versus the actualities and the safety thereof. So if you remember way back when, it was like Tesla, and I think it was in Houston, there was a Tesla that couldn't understand a full white shine in heavy sunlight truck, like a semi-truck,
Mm-hmm.
and it caused a crash, which I believe produced fatalities. And that was the initial adoption cycle of the assisted or full self-driving. And I think at that point, it was like the idea that you needed to be a lot more hands-on in terms of the guidance. I think, for me, the big difference between like a Waymo and a Tesla is that the Waymo has way more focus on being a self-driving car.
Right.
And the Tesla at the moment has way more focus on being a car that can help you relax.
Mm-hmm.
And that relaxation is a luxury item as opposed to being the full central function. I think of Waymo as it's going to improve different aspects of life, but I think of it more as like a public transport system, like a new bus or a new taxi that is going to be cheaper because we wouldn't have to pay for people to be in the vehicles. Versus what the Tesla system is, which is lazy people being lazy, or people attempting to take take the quotidian of the commute, which they've set up for themselves based on the urban sprawl and bullshit. So I would love to see it go more towards a public service in the style of like, now we can reduce the amount of cars that are on the road kind of thing, you know? Whereas even with...
You don't need 3 cars for your family. You only need a Waymo subscription.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that could be a way to improve kind of a public transportation system through a private corporation. Now, does that lock people out? Yes. Would we be able to adopt Waymo into buses and therefore eliminate city bus driver positions? Possibly. But so then there's the trade-off. There's always that trade-off when you're adopting technology. This is why the Luddites existed in terms of breaking machinery down, is as we adopt these into a variety of different places, the luxury item is not going to be replacing a position, more or less. I mean, lots of luxury people have drivers, but I think this is a upper middle and like centralized item, right? Where they don't have a driver, but they want the assistance in driving. Whereas on the lower end, this adaptation will squeeze out more jobs from workers on the lower scale of the socioeconomic scale, and it's providing this. It's part of the cyclical technological adaptation where people at the top, they quote unquote can't be replaced. Although I'm pretty sure that we could design a great algorithm that could trade stocks and push everything the same way that they just listen to the data and then interpolate the data in some cases. If all you're doing is interpolating data, a computer program can do that better than you, is all I'm saying. So some CEOs are fucking bullshit. At the bottom, a lot of jobs are going to be continuously be squeezed out by the adoption of technology that will push them further and further and further away from being able to maintain a decent life without a universal income that can subsidize a class of people that are being pushed out of jobs. Mm-hmm. And the cost of education skyrocketing at a continuous level to the point where even a bachelor's degree in most cases is only your first qualification for an internship.
Or a PhD. I'm now finding this out. Jesus Christ.
It's crazy how like one line of thinking from self-driving car can bring us in that direction. But I think if we start looking at it less of, oh my God, this is such a cool piece of technology for this individual car, and we try to broaden our scope and think about what are the consequences of having driverless cars, driverless buses, all throughout the city. I mean, it could make driving and walking and biking through a city a much more pleasant experience, but who's going to be able to afford the bike if you can't, if your job as a bus driver is totally gone?
That's true, but I guess the argument from the other side is that it's also creating jobs through the tech sector, and I understand that you would have to be more educated, right? What is the or you'd have to be educated in a different way, not necessarily more educated. You would have to be able to understand how the AI works and how to monitor it, and they would need engineers and people to repair the cars and make sure the camera systems are working and also manufacture all these cars and whatnot and equip it with all of the AI features. So it's not necessary. I guess it's more of a I was about to say, I guess paradigm shift is I always think of Final Fantasy 13 when I think of that word, but I fucking hate that game. It's a good game, but only is it? I don't know. But yeah, so it's really perhaps maybe because we could potentially be getting rid of some of these mainstay jobs that we have always had, right? There's always been the freight truck driver position and there's always been that bus driver job, right? But maybe we're shifting towards, and it's gonna be maybe not the most easy transition, but maybe our society and the way humans work we're gonna have jobs as scientists and engineers more commonplace, and that will become the blue collar job, right? Or whatever you want. And I personally see no problem in that as long as we help people in that transitional period, right? We can't just leave, like you're saying, if the bus driver has no job now and he's already 50, right? How is he supposed to adapt, right? That's the type of person that we have to help in this transitional period, as opposed to someone coming out of college or someone deciding to go to college, right?
Right.
And become a bus driver as opposed to becoming
that would be
Waymo engineer, right? You know what I mean?
Pre-college decision. Yeah. I do think that it's going to be vastly important for us to think about things like that as we move forward, but I think we're still a ways away from it being largely adopted.
But yes, we are a ways away, but we do need to prepare for it because it's definitely inevitable. And the sooner we prepare for it, I think the easier it'll be to just accept that it's going to happen. I think we're both in positions where we would gladly, just order a Waymo driverless car to come pick us up and drive us to wherever we wanted to go. And if it costs less than a Lyft or something, that would be pretty cool. And I would be totally down with that. But I totally understand the argument that you're putting forth that, it's replacing a Lyft driver or whatever, and that person no longer has a job. So,
those guys, a lot of those people came out of cab drivers.
Exactly.
I don't know how many former cab drivers that I know that are now like Lyft and Uber drivers.
So, just in the same way they adapted that way, I hope that there are programs in place to help them adapt for this coming future of Waymo Lyft cars.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So it is, that's the crazy thing about it. It just, the movement of how we transport ourselves is such a complicated topic now. And it intersects, I guess humans have always been, even throughout our evolution and history, it's always been about movement of people and traveling, and that's such a mainstay and huge part of our lives every single day. So it is a really huge topic to talk about, and I hope this conversation brought light to some ideas for some people to think about, to do some deeper research about Waymo, about Tesla. Should you buy a Tesla? I wanted to say and I think we already said it, I guess, but I think the reason why these Teslas have been crashing is because people have been giving too much control to the Tesla, rather. So
yeah.
I say that it has to be one way or the other. I don't think you can have this sort of in between where people are just like, oh, let me flip on the autopilot right now, and I guess their cars already have autopilot, but I mean, flip on the auto driving feature right now and just completely forget that I'm on the road. So, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm gonna take control of the car now. So I think it has to be 100% self-driving or 100% human driving. I don't like the in-between personally. I understand that it can help for accessibility for some people, but I honestly think that perhaps those people should just go with a completely self-driving car to begin with, if when that technology is there. I understand that there are some accessibility things for disabled people in whatever way that the Tesla could help out with. I like that, but I also think that there needs to be some sort of regulation with this stuff. It is kind of the Wild West out there when it comes to self-driving cars right now. So it is scary, but I think when the technology is there, we're all gonna look back in this period and think, man, what were we doing? But Yvonne,
wow, I couldn't believe the conversation that we just had, Julien. And to make that transition smooth, I think that the thing I wish was automated for me, just like car driving, is definitely rehydrating my body after drinking.
Holy moly. Did you have a crazy night?
I, in fact, had a board game night where we with two other couples played some board games.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
It was great, but you know what the trouble was is that we had Diplomatico rum there.
Oh, and so you finished a bottle of Diplomatico rum last night.
No, I had to drive, so I couldn't have done that. But
well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying the entire party. Clearly.
It was a third gun by the time there was only two people drinking it. So it was pretty astounding the rate of imbibement. But apparently the Elijah Craig that was there went even faster. So apparently people, not me, but people at large prefer bourbon to Diplomatico rum.
Are you
incorrect?
Are you hanging out with people who are from Bourbon Street, perhaps?
No, I actually don't know where most of them are from. The one couple I know, one of them is from Michigan, the other one is from Iowa. Okay. The other couple is from Nebraska and X place.
Well, really that's something.
Yeah,
that's cool. Well, I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
What else did you get into?
Diplomatico and some Elijah Craig. That was, I think, the 12-year. I don't remember if that's a standard bottle or the single barrel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I wouldn't.
I think it's just the 12-year.
I always mistake it for Elijah Wood. He's
a great actor of our time.
He is. I like that guy. Really swell guy. I just watched Hot Ones with him. You ever watch Hot Ones?
I've seen like moments from it mostly.
I actually really like that show on YouTube. It's one of the few big things on YouTube that I really like to watch. It's really entertaining. I would like to do
The other thing being us.
Yes, of
obviously.
course. We're second to Hot Ones, of course. I would like to do a Hot Ones with you, Yvonne. That would be pretty fun.
Man.
I don't know if we can actually handle it, but I'd like to try.
Absolutely not. But I guess we could.
You don't like the idea. I thought it would be fun.
No, I just my stomach is already ready to churn out some stuff.
Just
you know what I'm saying?
Just thinking about it. Yeah, I know.
Just thinking about it.
Anyways, what were you about to say, Yvonne? What were you getting into?
And today I'm gonna go see my movie.
Oh, cool! It's done.
Yeah, it's out in theaters. It's been out since Thursday. It's called The Night House. It was the first movie I ever made, and it's back. It's in.
It's in. Very cool. Everyone, go check out The Night House, sponsored by Hungover Gaming.
That's the one.
Very cool movie. Go check it out. You gonna give the people a brief synopsis of The Night House?
Woman's husband
Who's in it?
dies. Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall.
Evan Yongaki. And Rachel
And Yvonne
Goldberg. I'm not in the film.
You're in the credits.
I'm in the goddamn credits.
That's important. That's fucking important.
If I'm not, I'm gonna be real upset.
Have you not seen the credits?
No, I haven't seen. I've seen no inch
crazy.
of this movie,
Okay.
other than the trailer.
Nice. Well, that's exciting. Are you gonna go to one of these old, sit down, have a nice meal, a nice beer type movie theaters, or?
I'm going to not the eat movie theater. I'm going to a regular movie theater. My idea being, absolutely, a movie theater is a terrible place to go during one of the most COVID heavy epidemic portions of Louisiana.
No.
It's particularly if everybody has their mask off to eat. So, although maybe if it qualifies as a restaurant, everybody would have been required to have the vaccine. Fuck.
Is that a governmental federal mandate now?
So here in New Orleans, I don't remember who it was, but the bars, gyms, restaurants can or do mandate proof of vaccine.
Yeah, in New York City, they just started doing that, and I went to a restaurant with my mom on Monday, and they asked for our vaccination card, and I was like, whoa, I don't know if my mom knows what that is, so there's no way she has it on her. So we just sat outside. It was fine. They let us sit outside, I guess, so.
Yeah, so I think New Orleans and New York City are the main two places that are actually doing this.
That's really random, considering you'd think it would be California and New York City, I guess, first, given they were the ones hit by COVID the most, and also, usually lean towards a more liberal and democratic situation. Overall, that's really cool that New Orleans is doing that, because I want to end this pandemic. So let's do it together, guys.
Sleeves up, Nola. Yeah, and I have been reading more of The Way of Kings. It's finally getting good, Julian. About 40 hours in.
That is my kind of book.
It's like a JRPG.
Yes.
It's
good.
Final Fantasy 13. Okay, you're finally done with the tutorials.
Yes. No, tutorials are over. 40 hours in. We're done. We've given you everything. Now have fun. That's awesome. I'm glad you stuck with it so long.
There are some chapters where I'm like, no. Please don't. Don't bring this story back. Oh no. There's a second chapter?
No.
Anyway, there's some really awful storylines. And there's a girl named Shalon who's the ward of a very famous academic type person.
Mm-hmm.
And she's there learning, and she's literally explaining the philosophy that she's learning. And I'm like, Brandon Sanderson, I personally, on a one-on-one me to you level, don't care about your depiction of morality and philosophy. This bears no interest on me. I have a solidified approach to what my morality and philosophy is, and if I wanted to encourage debate on it, I wouldn't read your treatise on it.
Nice. Sick. That is.
So I got a little bored a few times, but yeah. I'm back in it, baby.
Sometimes you gotta put a book down, Yvonne. Sometimes you gotta put it down. Sometimes you gotta pick it back up.
This is why I have my Chinggis Khan book, which I'm also reading through.
Yeah. How's that one?
It's great. I learned so much about him. He's such a fascinating character of history that I knew very little of in comparison to when I thought I knew a lot about him. And I haven't even gotten to his wars, which I think I know actually a little bit more about, but I just learned about his unification war, and now starting to look to Manchuria.
Sweet. That's exciting stuff. Oh man. What an exciting time to be alive, Yvonne.
1200s. Yeah. What about you?
Me? I've got some bad news for everyone. I actually got fired from my job in new drama. This is now a drama pod.
What?
Got fired. I was surprised too, considering I didn't see it coming. It actually happened to be the same day I was gonna quit, so I'm all right with it. But so I came in, and the owner of the store was there, and he basically accused me of stealing a sandwich. Dumbest thing. I don't get free sandwiches at work. Another thing I would complain about, but we get 50% off sandwiches, which is fine. I made a sandwich on Wednesday. He's like, I looked on the cams and you didn't pay for your sandwich, and you're out of here. I was like, what is okay? And I was really flustered. So basically on Wednesday I made a sandwich for myself on my break, and the register's right behind the sandwich station, and I look at it, and there was a line of people. We only have one register in the store. It was a line of people, and I would end up having to wait to pay for my sandwich. So I was like, all right, I'll just pay for it when we close. And I just forgot to pay. Just a simple thing, because we have a million other things to do. I just happened to forget to pay for a $6 sandwich, and he fired me for that. So,
wow.
Thanks a lot, Butcher Shop. That was really exciting. A really great way to spend my day yesterday. Just sulking. I was
shit.
Like, oh, I've never been fired in my life. Typically, an employer would probably take you if you did something wrong, that they didn't like. Totally fine, they would probably try to open a conversation with you about it and maybe take actions to correct it, as opposed to just firing someone. But
particularly if it's not like a
$6
a repeated thing or something like that.
Just over a $6 sandwich. It's like pretty cool, man. You're wrestling with a lot of insecurities yourself, buddy. Fucking that guy. I have never particularly liked my boss, but occasionally he would start growing on me, because he would be nice to me sometimes, but oh man. So I applied to 2 jobs yesterday. If anyone's got a job out there, just tell me, man, I'll do it.
Holy shit.
Luckily, I have some money saved up, so I'll be fine for a while. But I would like to have a job. It would be nice. So I'm trying to get one. I'm looking into food science jobs or just any chemistry related job because those are my real qualifications in life. And I don't know if I can apply for a butcher job again because I'll probably be bad-mouthed in the butcher circle if they ever ask my employer. my past employer, he'll just say he stole from me. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a surefire way to not get hired. Great. Cool. So I don't know if I can ever be a butcher again. I don't know if I would ever want to be anyways, but it sucks. But I figure I should tell you, Yvonne, you're someone who's important in my life.
God damn, dude. That's friend. So unfair.
Tell the podcast.
I'm sorry, man.
Something to talk about. Yeah, I know, but like I was saying, I was ready to move on anyways, so this just sort of kickstarted it. Sort of forced me to look for jobs now. So I'm looking. Do you have any tips and tricks on looking for jobs, Yvonne? I know we're in completely different industries and have different lifestyles, but
yeah,
I don't know. This is just a conversation for the podcast because I assume a lot of people are looking for jobs right now anyways. So I thought we'd bring
in terms of the food service,
I'm not
stuff
looking
like that
specifically as a food service job, but I'm sure I could get one if I really wanted.
I would say fucking hop onto a film catering crew if you can for a little bit because I'm pretty sure the caterers make some money, and you can get shit.
I'm not worried. I can last a couple months.
And they're in Brooklyn, I think.
Okay.
So that actually might be an interesting route to go, but in general, I always rely on contacts and people that I know from work and jobs, and reach back out to the people who left if you're interested in being back in the butcher field. But if you're looking into the food science field, I'd check your connections on social media that you're not on. So
sick. I'll do that.
What is other than that?
Yeah. Other than that, that's it. That's it, huh?
Other than that,
the best way to get a job is through a connection, right? So.
Yeah. Check out LinkedIn. Sometimes you can message people there. That's Laura actually has been going through a lot of like job seeking trainings, so she might actually have some good ideas about that. Better than me.
Okay.
Because I have never legitimately been hired for a job since like
neither have I. This is such a new experience to me, and it probably a horrible time to do it for my first time. I've never had to actually really apply for a job. I've been a student for the past 29 years, and then I became another student, and then I guess I worked at that ramen shop for 3 months, and I applied to that. I looked for that job and applied for it, and then this butcher job I applied to. But again, I'm not trying to find another job in the service industry. I don't know if that's really what I want to do with my life right now. So I definitely want to do something with food, and I did it honestly just to get some sort of footing and experience in the service industry, so I could really, I think what I want to be is a food scientist in some way. So I'm really looking for those jobs. I found there's a place literally 2 blocks away that's a beverage company called Virginia Dare, and they were hiring a food scientist that I seemed to fit all the qualifications for, so I applied to that. That would be so cool if they offered me a position, or at least even contacted me back, honestly. But I mean, I applied for that yesterday, so I'm not too worried about it yet. But And then I
I would
also
say a good
sorry.
way to encourage, like, I don't know, particularly on LinkedIn, is like if you interact with people's posts,
Yeah.
that will boost your, even if you like just one thing that they did, it will boost your application versus other people's applications like a tremendous amount.
Okay.
So I don't know if like stopping by the shop or finding them on social media and reaching out to them that way is like, hey, really love what your company is doing. Reached out to be a food scientist, looking to get back in that food science game. I don't know. I've always found the power of like people feel are meant to feel special, like they're wanted.
Yeah.
Then they're going to pay more attention. So that's my basic guideline.
All right. I'll. I mean, they're so close, and like I do anything. It's not like I have anything else to do right now, so maybe I'll stop by with my resume in hand and actually talk
Yeah, and you
to
could just
someone.
ask the guys who are there and be like, "Hey, what's it like working for this company?" Different
Yeah,
kinds of
I
things.
don't even know though. I mean, it's I'm not sure if they actually have a like a public area in which I could even walk into. So I would I have to scope it out. It seems like a factory, so I don't even know if I can just walk in. But I'll
You're
try
just
anyways.
gonna, like a thief, scope
Yeah.
out. I'm trying to get hired. Do y'all have
He breaks
a
into the
bathroom?
factory. I just wanted a job. Yeah, but aside from getting hired,
Jesus.
or fired, hired, that would be great. I hope everyone out there who's looking for a job finds one. I know this is a really shitty time in human history, especially for people trying to find jobs. Um, I also watched the new Evangelion movie on Amazon
Shit, I
Prime.
did not do that.
Something that no one who hasn't watched Evangelion should ever do is just jump into this movie. Okay, so I'm gonna put a full stop there. If you haven't watched 26 episodes of anime, 2 movies after that, and then 5 movies. There are 26 episodes in anime and 5 movies before this movie, and there was a 10-year gap, I think, between the last movie and this movie, for whatever reason. And there's also, I think, a 14-year gap or 14-year time jump in the movie. So that's cool, I guess. But this movie does not much in the way of explaining anything that's happening in the show, but it gives you an ending that somehow feels justified and explained. I don't know how to explain that, really. I do see the cat on the pod. Make sure you watch the YouTube video to see Yvonne's cat, who is chasing its tail right now and then licking its tail. Great. Uh, that's what a cat would do. Just immediately
You
forget what you're
embarrass
doing.
me.
Immediately forget what it's doing and then do something else and then start freaking out. But this movie, I have to criticize because I'm such a longtime fan of this show, and part of what I really liked about the show is the original anime is that it was all hand animated and really well. I thought the visuals of the show were absolutely one of the standouts of the show, and this anime, I don't know if you've seen like a recent anime movie aside from a Studio Ghibli movie. I don't know.
Probably a Gundam was the last one.
Right? It there's a certain like I do like this aspect. Like there's a certain look to either how it's colored or how it's drawn or whatever it is. Like it looks really different from, say, an anime TV show from the 90s. It looks markedly different, and I don't really know how to explain it. I guess maybe it's the resolution. Maybe that's it. Or it's like the artistic style. There must be like or maybe there's like some sort of common animation program that a lot of these studios are using, and everything looks all the actual animated parts look really nice and drawn and colored and beautiful. But then they start throwing in all this fucking 3D shit. Like half of the movie is CG, and I hated it. I honestly hated it. It looked really bad. They made all the Avas fucking 3D CG bullshit, which is gonna look horrible in like, probably it looks horrible now in my opinion. So if it's gonna look bad in 10 years, you bet your bottom dollar. But the fucking TV show still looks really good. The anime, I think, looks better than this movie. So I was really kind of mad about that they chose to do that. I would assume it's cheaper in a way. I'm not so sure on it must be cheaper than hand drawn animation for the scale that they were trying to do of the battles, but or maybe easier rather. I don't know if it's necessarily cheaper, but I think I thought it looked bad, half of it, but there is a lot of, character development and whatever that you would expect from the final movie in the series, and you learn a lot about Shinji's dad, which apparently the whole show was about, I guess, in a way. So I don't know.
The entire show, which doesn't. All right.
It's a whole nonsense about human emotion and whatever. It's like, just do the robot fights, but then the robot fights don't even look good anymore. So I guess they gave some sort of like ending to the characters and whatever, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who wants to watch the movie or is really excited to watch it, but you can watch it on Amazon Prime, which is cool. And then they finally announced that they're gonna release the Blu-ray for the show, the original show, and the first two movies, which I've been waiting for forever. I've just found my DVDs of the show and the two movies, which I'm super excited about. I get to watch it again, not through Netflix, which totally ruined it. No offense. Yes, offense to Netflix. Stop ruining anime. I'm fucking pissed. But this Blu-ray is supposed to have the original Japanese dub and I think the English dub as well, and it's up-res, but they're only making fucking 5,000 copies of it. How the hell am I supposed to get this? Why? Just make a lot of them and just sell them. I'm like, yeah. I'm such a big fan of the show. I just want to buy it so I can have it, and it's gonna be like $300. Like, oh my god, this is too much. So I'm going to try my hardest to get it, and I guess never open it because it's so limited run. So pissed off. Anyways, Yvonne, I've been playing a lot of Demon's Souls as well. I love that game, and I'm stuck on a boss. The bosses finally got hard. I'm excited. And then...
Nice!
Fucking after that... Not much else in my life. Got fired... Excited about Evangelion.
Oh my god.
Demon's Souls is cool. Hire me or sponsor this podcast, please, so we can start making some money. That would be cool. I've been looking into going through our back catalog and changing titles and thumbnails. Apparently that will get us more views, so maybe that could be a thing. That would be cool. Yvonne, what are we doing? Still podcasting, am I right? Let's just end this podcast now, and I hope everyone has a great day and a great week ahead of them, because this podcast comes out on Mondays. So everyone have a good one. We'll catch you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.